Hello, everyone. It's lovely to see you again. Welcome to a overdue live that I've scheduled. However, as you can see, I'm outdoor, so forgive any sound, noise, or distraction. But I was supposed to do this work a very long time ago. So God gave me a title. He also told me to use that thumbnail. Lord, we give you the glory, honor, the praise. We have to go ahead and first speak to your children, open our hearts to hear you today. In Jesus' name, amen. Okay, so what was the title of the word I just posted? I honestly, Lord, what is it? I know the thumbnail says your king is in your neighborhood, right? And then I just spoke. God literally told me, and I posted. I wrote it, but I don't remember what I wrote. So he's talking about Queen Esther's story, right? Queen Esther's story. Guys, I can't even find my own channel ministry. Queen Esther's story. Where am I? Oh, right here. I'm trying to see the title I have. Be open to the new. Be open to the new, and your king is in your neighborhood. All right. So the father just said the Queen Esther story. Okay. What exactly want to tell me? All right. So he's saying, first of all, your king is in your neighborhood. And this obviously is not for everyone, right? Hi, Shani. First of all, he's saying to, honestly, literally, we're supposed to be doing some live on vetting good husband, good man, good candidate, right? How I know this is because I was vetting them wrong. All right. First of all, let's talk about the physical attraction. That is good. However, it's not the greatest asset when you're vetting for a husband, a king, as God suggests, right? We are going to start with the word. You have to think about the character of the person. Maybe God is even highlighting someone to you, and because you're not really physically attracted to them, you're brushing it off or you're ignoring it. Again, God can highlight many people to you. However, it's your due diligence to vet the person's character. You want to know if you are aligned with the person. You might not be in exact alignment when you are open to the person. Excuse me. But God will let you know if He wants you to be patient and to grow in some realms, and the same with the other person. But that doesn't mean you need to let go of the person. Do you understand me? Some of you are focused on the wrong area, and this is why you're overlooking all the candidates in your neighborhood. Okay? It's not about their hustle, it's not about their house, it's not about their car and all of that. But their life should have balance. You don't want to entertain somebody who's not even able to take care of their own self unless God is telling you, is allowing you to do such a thing. Because one thing I know about God, sometimes he tells us to do things that doesn't make sense. Now, I'm not telling you to stay in any desperate situation and settle because I'm saying this. No, use good judgment and carry this back to God. What I'm saying, God will highlight someone to you. However, they might not be in perfect alignment, and they are in your neighborhood. And I'm going to tell you something. When God promised you something, some of you need to take initiative. Okay, stop telling everybody no. Stop being so. You should be able to let your guard down in meeting new people. Now, don't think instant, oh my gosh, he's my husband or she's my wife. You want to be mature with the approach. Obviously, you're going to need some strategy, right? But don't drown in the worldly things, right? So you want to make sure you're vetting them based on the word. You want to focus on their character. You want to give it time. Okay, if God says somebody is your husband, and this is what He said to me in the past, I don't mean tomorrow. Okay, And again, it depends on your story. Some people marriage might take 5 years. Some people marriage might take 10 years. But that doesn't mean they weren't building intimacy with the person. Perfect person who came to me is Daphne, right? She and her husband had intimacy over 10 years before they got married. I don't know what kind of intimacy they have. So this is boundary what I'm saying. I'm not talking casual intimacy and all that thing. All right. So when I say intimacy, they was getting to know each other and all of that. On what level, I don't know. That's not my um I don't know everything, but all I know is she made a testimony that it was like 10 years. All right. What I'm saying is do not idolize everybody else's situation. Don't think your situation with this person have to be like everybody else's testimony. Don't think you cannot, if God give you a word, or God probably said relocation or something. No, use good judgment with what I'm saying. I'm not saying to let go of what God's saying, say it. So God might give you one option, though you connect with someone, but the person is not even being obedient to God. All right. God can and sometime will let you know if you have another option, right? Because I know some people, you are literally so desperate, you're still holding on to something God told you to let go of. Yes, please don't be desperate, but you want to make sure you're using that same energy to hold on to the right person when you connect with them or reconnect with them. Stop letting go of the literal prodigals and stop letting go of the real husband because of your worldly mindset, because of your immaturity, because you're nitpicking and you're not seeing the bigger picture of what this husband's supposed to be. All right, so you want to go to the word, and it's highlighting love is patient. That's the first thing all of us need to know, okay? And that's boundary what God is saying. He's saying Queen-Esther was not patient with a lot of things. All right. So I remember one time I made a testimony that I've connected, I've met my kingdom spouse and all that. This was years ago. All right. Now, guess what? It's not that the person isn't or wasn't. The thing is, it needed time. So do not rush God. Don't rush the process. And there's something called maturity on your part. All right. You can push the person away and reel the person in. Now, there's something called rejection. They might be rejecting you for God's glory, and they might be rejecting you because they just don't see it fit. Know when to let go and let God, or know when to consecrate yourself and seek God about the person. Now, back to the king in your neighborhood. There's a lot of men and women in your neighborhood that you are overlooking, that you're not even vetting. When you ask God for something and He's giving you the go ahead, stop being scared to connect with people. No, you don't want to go from a place of desperation. Even on dating website. Man, I can't tell you how much hit I get on dating website. And God said to me, Queen-Esther, you're not even vetting these men. Like, you're just looking at them. Okay, first of all, if there's way too much people is connecting with me, right? So obviously I'm not gonna be able to vet 50, 100 candidates a day, right? So fine, I go off the aesthetic, which but often I listen when God say, "Oh, this is my son," or "Do this one." Honestly, every time I do that, and if you have the wrong heart posture, God will close the door. Let me tell you that. Okay, so if you go on there and He said this person is my son, and you're not ready, or you're just trying to play games, He's gonna unmatch you with the person supernaturally. He's gonna close the door. Don't waste God time. Do you understand me? Now, vet the candidates with God, not by your flesh, not by your emotion. I can tell you how much time the enemy will try to lie to you and tell you all kind of nonsense, but you want to always take your thoughts captive and go back to the word. Okay, this is what I'm going to tell you. Maturity when you're connecting with somebody or even dating. Vet the tone of the voice you're hearing or what you're hearing. Now, here's the biggest green lesson. Do not respond to the person immaturely because you think you heard something, or there's a thought that was planted in your mind, or you're assuming something. Do not go on Instagram and read the reels about relationship and advice and this and that. Then you use it to start vetting the person that God opened the door, and then you end up closing the door because you become immature. Okay, God can present you, but He can't force the person, and God will test you. Okay, you see my face? God will test you. Again, be slow to anger, quick to listen, and slow to speak. All right. Again, I don't know why I clicked that again. Be still and know that I'm God. God will help you in the process. If you're stressing about certain things, I don't know how to approach a person, I don't know how to communicate with the person, I don't know nothing, that's when you go to God. God knows everything about the person, and God will let you know if this is the husband. I want you to stand. Don't focus on what you see. Don't focus on the thoughts you hear. If I say this is your husband, this is your husband, and then there's boundary, because at the end of the day, God presented Eve to Adam, right? Hold on, let me pause this for a moment. All right, okay, so God is saying it is real relationship in the beginning, all right? It's a real relationship when you connect with the person. You want to start building intimacy. Now there's different levels and realm of intimacy. I'm not talking sexual intimacy, all right? I'm not talking that. Like, think about level one, communication. This is where the beginning of the dating phase. You still want to use strategy, and then the person can plain out know that this person is my husband, and you are mature. You want to approach the situation based on your person and based on the knowledge that God give you. Okay, don't think God can give you strategy to win the person's heart. God can know that two person is very mature. However, there's some little what you call it, some little silly things that you would cause to end this connection or something. All right. So if you deliberately trying to be immature, then God will just let the person close the door. God will let the person stop communication with you. Because if God said, this is my son, most of the time, they will use good judgment. They will go seek God about it. Now, these men have character. All right. They ain't trying to get you in no bed. Let me tell you that. Because in the world of dating, some men, that's their end goal. Okay. When it's God's son, a true son of God, like yourself, he will be led by the word. He will be led by God. However, he's not going to be perfect. She's not going to be perfect. There's things that you will hear that probably don't make sense in the beginning, but as you keep maturing and trusting God, you will understand the whole connection and what is going on. All right. Heaven is behind you with this connection. And stop having faith without the action. Some of you have so much faith, big faith, but you're not taking the action. And when you connect with a person, please do not push the person away. You want to give it time. You will not know a person through character unless you test their spirit. Unless you test their spirit. What I mean is, you want to give it time. Don't jump and jump to conclusion because there was one incident and then you're like, oh my gosh, I must have misheard God. This can't be the person. Like, no, I'm not saying to sit down in animosity and all those wrong things. I'm talking some of the simple things, quarrel, or maybe he said something and I misjudged it, or when you send a message, the person can read it in the wrong tone. I can't tell you how much time I did that. And then God would say, overall, even in friendship, relationship, marriage, Instagram message, when you're reading a message, do not jump to conclusion. Don't add your own tone to it. What you want to do is take time to reflect on the message. If you feel like it's something that is rude, uncomfortable, instead of responding to the situation harshly, you want to take time to really reflect on what you just read and make yourself calm. Do not respond to the person in anger because you're going to say things that you're going to regret. All right. And you can't take it back once it's read. You can't take it back once you post it. And that was something I was watching yesterday. Please do not run and go post everything on social media. All right. The enemy will want you to do these things. God is trying to protect the seed. And that's a lesson. Don't go post things on social media. Don't go tag the person. Don't go overshare. Okay. Don't go practice any ritual to get any type of commitment. Like, no, you don't need to be desperate for the person when God sent the person. God can give you person to vet, and all along, the person might not be your physical attracting person, but when you get to know the person's spirit or spiritually, you will understand that okay, I've been vetting the situation wrong. Again, if you have never met a real gentleman or a man of God character, when you do, you will know. However, I can give you some detail that you're gonna know. That's all you're gonna know. Okay, they're gonna be patient. They're gonna be gentle. They're gonna be kind. They're gonna be caring. I'm not saying that you're just gonna get their attention instantly. And this is where maturity comes in. Every day you want to be intentional. You're not gonna chase the person. You're not gonna act like you're thirsty and they're your God and your idol. Do you understand me? You want to make sure you're being mature. You want to make sure you're being polite. And as the relationship progress, things start happening. There's boundary in whatever realm you're in with God. Maybe God say, oh, I'm not allowing you to kiss the person for the first 2 months. Why? Because maybe you had an incident regarding kissing and something happened and all these things. Okay, I'm just giving you an example. Some of you will date from your trauma point. What do I mean? Some of you think you don't have trauma, but you do. You're going to date this person in fear. Maybe you experience dating somebody and they abuse you with their time in responding. So as soon as this new person or this new candidate take a couple hours to respond, you start freaking out. You start being immature. You start going to search for new candidates, though God is saying to be still for now and be patient. Do you understand me? Mentally, attraction is big for God's son. They don't just want a woman that's beautiful. And I can tell you that, okay? Please, your beauty alone with no character is not going to cut it. And this is coming from a beautiful woman. First of all, it will get their attention. As soon as you open your mouth, they're going to know. I was watching the pop the balloon thing, and we're going to do some vetting, and I'm going to show you how they miss so much candidate. Like I watched pop the balloon challenge, dating thing, which I feel like is not even that mature. There were so many compatible candidates that just and they walk off the stage with no match. Okay, so stay with me here. Dating advice 101. Not every single person you connect with is your husband. That's the first lesson you want to know. Okay. However, vetting them is an option. You can vet somebody and then you realize they're not your husband. We are not compatible. They're not okay. No, let me give you a strategy. Do not go in. All right. When you're vetting somebody, a man, I'm gonna give you from a man's standpoint. Ladies, don't go in there and act like you're not interested. However, please do not go in there and act like you're desperate. You want to show your best side, and this is supposed to be you as a human being. You're not supposed to be pretending. Do you understand me? Be your true self, but then there's boundaries. You don't need to share everything from your past. You don't need to share everything that's happening in your life. These are the things you need to learn and grow in now before you start entertaining candidates, okay? There's some things you should never share with these people. And maybe later on in the future, if you do get married and cross such boundaries, they can know some things. However, based on the person, God can allow you to share some very personal or intimate detail with the person from a standpoint of getting to know you more and how to be your man, not from a place of sexual intimacy or from that standpoint. There's husband and there's man. All right, say you're in, you pass the dating phase, the talking phase, or whatever. I'm not saying to go have sex with nobody. No, I'm not saying that. But if somebody is your man, it's like a posture. Like, I'm gonna make sure you're good, or they want to know how to give you intimacy. Okay? No, we're not talking, I'm talking about physical intimacy or verbal intimacy. They want to learn how to communicate with you. Now, for example, a lot of you've been abused mentally and verbally, right? So this is what I mean. God will allow you to tell them certain things so they will know how to speak to you. They will know how to communicate with you. They will know how to physically what? They will know how to physically approach you, okay? Again, kissing is not a sin. However, there's boundary with kissing. And certain things can lead to realms of sin if you're indulging. There is sexual sin, and then there's boundaries in those things. Now, I'm not saying having sex is not a sin. I'm not saying that, but there's something called dimension and realms. And when you have such deep, developed relationship with God, you will experience these hidden realms of knowledge. All right. But me, I can tell you what to do, and I'm not God. But as a daughter, I can tell you you will get there. And this is why you have to take time to develop such intimacy with God and relationship. Unlike myself, God was like, Queen-Esther, you need some friends. I'm like, well, you're always talking to me. But I do have a few friends, right? But what I'm trying to say is, me and God is that intimate. Just as I'm talking to you right now, he's always talking to me like this. Communication is key, but that doesn't mean I'm not humble or I will never listen to another prophet. I don't still read my Bible and pray. No, because if you act like you're too prideful and you're all the way up there, God will humble you. That's not me. And I always say, I don't know everything about you, but I do know a lot about Elohim, right? So, boundaries in dating, you want to have these boundaries set before you start vetting. Please learn how to approach God's son. Please don't be desperate. You can shoot your shot like a mature adult, not in a desperate way. Like, you could just stare at somebody, smile, literally. You want to be inviting, okay? Stop walking past all the gentlemen in your neighborhood. You could just start saying, hi, good morning, and just have short conversation. You never know. I don't know how much people I hear give testimony overlooking the person that they are now married to, okay? If you're vetting from a place of balance, God's character, and from a place of a husband, not a playboy, you're going to realize there's much kings in your neighborhood. All right? If you feel like there's no one in your neighborhood, then you want to be intentional and stop saying, God, I'm still waiting for you. God, you're not answering my prayer. God, I don't. Okay, first of all, all right, God is saying if you don't have any model, like influence of what a husband should be or how to vet this person, you should seek him in those realms, okay? And there's boundary with what I'm saying. You will not know. Okay, if you just always been mentally abused in a relationship, neglected, abandoned, you're not gonna really understand what you're looking for, honestly. However, you're gonna know what you desire, right? You're gonna desire the opposite of what your trauma is. So, but that doesn't mean that this person and yourself is compatible. Do you understand me? Most of the time you are in that realm. So don't just surrender because you and the person experience the same trauma. And there's something also called trauma bonding. You don't want to go in a relationship with trauma bond. Let me give you an example. As soon as the person neglect you for like one day, you go in this fighting attitude, and the next day before the person could explain themselves, you're angry, you're giving the person cold shoulder, you start being immature, and then it's like a cycle. You have to have security in your own self. Even if this person abandoned me, I love myself enough, and I'm gonna give myself enough grace to be able to move on. Okay, this is not you investing years, because when you sacrifice into something, you don't want to just give it up. Okay, and fighting for your relationship and your marriage is something personal. When I invest in something or I sacrifice of something, I'm gonna have more here. I'm gonna store it more, and I'm gonna have more interest. It's the same with dating, especially man. Not all men. Man will not much appreciate something that they don't have to store. Okay, if you're just easy, open, and just giving, they're gonna use you. Okay, guys, I'm in the city, so the noise. Yeah, I'm outdoors. Okay, so know your worth. Know your worth. Know your worth. You think? No, I'm gonna teach you something. There's a lot of trauma that the person that God is bringing in your life will help you cross. Will help you. What you want to say, Lon? He's saying I'm their healer, but I'm gonna use them or her, him or her, to help with such healing process. Now think about it. If you was in a relationship and you was abandoned, no intimacy, you barely get any love, any affection, or any of their time, God will start using this person to help you get over such past hurt trauma. All right. It's not something you're gonna dwell in. The whole point of it is to get about those lies that you experience, because God doesn't want you to carry it. He wants you to focus on the new. Okay. Get used to the new, or be open to the new, where somebody is gonna actually love you. They're gonna actually care about you genuinely. They're gonna actually appreciate your heart. And please, if some of you just been in some abusive, verbal, tough situation, please do not think all men are like that, rough and crusty. No, they're not. Okay. Some men are boys deep down, but this is not something. When I say, okay, first of all, let's not use, yeah, I want to use boys. Like, think about having a little boy, a little son. I'm going to use my son, for example. My little son, right? He's very compassionate. Think about your child. Even daughter, I'm going to use, maybe your daughter could be a good demonstration. I'm talking about the little innocence in a child, right? I don't know if all every single person has this part in them, even if it's lost and hidden. It's there. The right woman or the right man will bring it out. Do you understand me? So, say you've been with somebody who's rough, crusty, abusive, loud, aggressive, angry, right? When God bring one of his sons to you, you're gonna experience the opposite, right? So I guess that's character. And then the more the person becomes uh in love with you, right? Their posture changes. Not in a bad way or anything. And I'm gonna share the movie what I'm talking about. I actually watched a movie just the other day with God where I saw this boy posture. I don't even know. I don't want to call it boy. It's more like a okay. It's more like being vulnerable and showing that side of you to the woman you love and you don't want to lose her, but she's not really surrendering. Do you understand me? It's called Walking Away from Love. Okay, if you look it up on YouTube, you'll find it. Walking away from love. So she was in a relationship, and I guess she ended up being pregnant. When she was pregnant, the guy told her to have an abortion. However, he didn't listen to nothing she said. It was always what he wanted, right? So she ended up finding out the guy got some other lady pregnant. And when he came back telling the story, he was giving her the whole rundown. So when she found like the paternity test, she wrote him a letter and she disappeared and went to Chicago. The man, she left Chicago. It's been 3 years, right, since she broke up with a guy, and she's been dating a guy at her work for 1 year in secret. However, probably 10 months in, 11 months in the 1 year point, the guy starts showing her deep, mature dreams of love and admiration and intimacy. And that's what I mean. The way he spoke to her, it was so innocent. It was like childlike. And that's what I mean by the boy inside of the person. It's not something you're supposed to abuse. Okay? Trauma can make you take these things for granted, these dreams for granted. You're gonna start thinking you can start abusing the person because you think, oh my gosh, they're so nice. No, you're gonna think they're so soft or they're so calm, so I can do whatever I want and I can have my way. God will not allow you to abuse his son. So that's what I'm gonna tell you. It will bust your ass if you think he's gonna allow you to do that. So if you've never seen a man being vulnerable, that means you never really been in love with a man to show you that side. When a man is in love, right? There's this side. I don't know about every man, but most of the things I've been watching, I've been seeing it, right? So there's this ream of movie you guys should watch. There's a lot of lesson in them. Type in African love drama. I watch a lot of those and just regular movies with God. I don't just watch the movie just to watch the movie, but the African one has so much lessons. Okay? And I noticed a pattern in the guys. It started out casual, and then the connection and the intimacy goes deeper and deeper and deeper. And then they start showing you that true inner boy of love. Okay? So when I say boy, I don't mean it in a disrespectful way. It's just being vulnerable and say, this is me. I actually do love you. Like, think about man and masculinity. Men are really masculine. Do you understand me? This part of them, they don't really show, because a lot of, especially black men, experience trauma in this realm of their emotions. So not every man is going to be like this. So that's God correction. And that's why he's talking about his sons who are mature, caring, gentle, nurturing. When they are showing you this side, you should not be abusing them. You should not be taking them for granted. You should not be displaying too much of your business or your intimacy on social media unless God is leading you to do that. And there's always boundary with God in everything. All right. So for all of you who was been in a relationship where you was crying, God is saying to dry your eyes and to save those tears, because those tears is going to become tears of joy. All right. So all those tears that he bottled up when you cry, it's going to be given back to you in tears of joy. If you did not know, there's a scripture that tells us that God does bottle up our tears when we cry. All right. So every hurt and every trauma that you've been experiencing or had experienced, even from your parents, okay, verbal abuse is very bad. Sometimes we don't even know we're doing. Sometimes I have to give myself grace. Sometimes you might say things that's hurtful to them and you don't even know. Man can be emasculated. Okay? Don't say immature things to them. There's something called ego, okay? Especially to the ones that look like big. Okay, first of all, this is something I need to say to you. You know those guys that everybody will look at like, oh my gosh, they're handsome and they have like 50 million women. Sometimes it's true, but those guys are literally the ones that be showing the reams that I'm talking about. Because everyone always assume that they probably have too much women and they get looked over. They get overlooked because nobody don't want to deal with, you're too handsome and I'm not trying to go through that stress. But honestly, truly, they deeply just want a mature, intimate relationship with somebody who's going to appreciate their heart. Those men always get the woman who's just with them for their beauty. Man doesn't want women who want them for their looks or their finances. They want the woman who love them intentionally, um, for their heart, their character, and they will rain everything else on you later on. Do you understand me? Not everybody, just saying. But you're supposed to become their pride, their joy, their peace, their happiness with God. Because, we don't give people happiness. God is happiness, period. But you can help bring joy to the person's life and all of that. Don't look for peace from a man. God give you peace, but God can bring peace through your marriage. So make sure you're not idolizing this marriage thing. And that's your session for today. All right. So make sure you implement and apply the wisdom and use good judgment. Know what is for you. If you're not sure, you take it back to God. You should always take everything back to God. Take what you need and leave what you don't. Please apply good judgment to what I'm sharing with you. Don't go on Instagram and go watch all those reels and then judge your relationship based on a post that's been created from a 10-year relationship. Stop expecting what somebody built in 10 years to be your reality in the first month. Sometimes it can depend on what it is, but if you use somebody 10-year relationship and post to judge your relationship, you might end up losing a very good, mature person. Do you understand me? This is why good judgment is really good. Always base marriage on the scripture, not what man says, not what Instagram say. Also, God can give you knowledge of something or someone that he doesn't give somebody else. So don't let nobody change your stand when you are positive and God confirm these things to you. All right, so do stay blessed. And I'll see you guys tomorrow in the next live. Okay, I should be doing daily live back again. Also, I'm doing some upcoming giveaway, and I've been building the NASDAQ body university, especially for single moms who are struggling, and anybody who's struggling financially and just want to add a new source of income. All right, it's not just through trading, but there's ebooks, sessions, and a lot of things. And please, I'm not making you any empty promises. Anything I say to you is true. If you sign up for the NASDAQ Body University, I guarantee you, you will make your money back within the first week. All right. But just to be fair, I'm just going to say the first month. But if you take the approach and follow my instruction and direction the first week, okay? Again, there's a lot of things about trading. I'm saying this from a place of knowledge. Some people will never say this to you because they don't really have the knowledge. I do now, okay? And your finances is drying up because you are limiting your source. And a lot of you are asking God for help and for money, but you don't have a strategy and you don't have a plan. So the NASDAQ University is just one of the section there. So the Queen-Esther, that store is being launched, and there's going to be a lot of resources to help you, a lot of free content. So that's what I've been building behind the scenes, and the launch is upcoming. If you're not following me on Instagram, make sure you go follow me on Instagram. So if you want to add an additional 100, I'm just gonna start a baby step for you, an additional at least $100 a day to your finances. That's $500 a week. Then make sure you definitely enroll. All right, no, you want to go join the wait list, all right? Because I have a wait list. I don't want to be overwhelmed with students. I have 75 sign up already for my wait list for the NASDAQ Body University. However, I have group mentorship and personal mentorship. And I think I'm going to try to implement a payment plan. Honestly, I'm not trying to take or look anything from you guys. I'm just trying to give back to you, to the knowledge and stuff. And please don't think that Queen-Esther is not going to charge you a price. My sacrifice was not something easy. And I can tell a lot of you when you sacrifice for something. When you sacrifice for something, you know its worth and value. Sometimes when people bring you free content and give you free knowledge and advice, you don't really take it seriously. But as soon as they start charging you, that's when you start appreciating these things. All right. But when God tells me to come live and stuff, I don't charge for that and all that. But I do have personal mentorship. I never charge for prophetic word or none of that. For my time, there's a fee for like a one-on-one, the business strategy mentorship, your personal growth strategy, that which include dating advice. I don't want to put myself in too much work because this is my season of rest. Honestly, guys, if you see how much sacrifice I've been doing just to become the NASDAQ body with God. So if you don't know what that is a stock market protege, okay? What I'm going to teach you will change your whole life, your future generation. Actually, I'm not gonna promise you that, because if they're lazy, then I don't know. But it's gonna change your life, your finances, and the finances of your children. All right. And do use good judgment with what I'm saying. It's not a get rich quick scheme. However, the strategy I've been implementing for the past years, literally been consistent, back tested. I already have clients. I already do mentorship, but I'm doing something more in depth, and that's why there's a wait list. But yeah, and guys, please do not take what I'm telling you lightly, okay? Excuse me. You should want to be on the wait list. I'm not even joking, guys. Go to Queen-Esther, that store, and put your email for the wait list. This mentorship session, while I'm mentoring you, you're going to be able to make consistent profit. Okay. Now I have different dreams and different level. So it depends on what you choose. Gonna implement that. It depends. There's a lot of things. All right. I can't really unpack everything right now, but I'm gonna drop the Queen-Esther that store. Queen-Esther that store. You just go over there. Just type in Queen-Esther that store on your phone, and it will take you right there. It's gonna say to just to add your email, and that's it. I'm only doing 25 student a term, okay? But I'm gonna have to I have to help you personally, especially the one-on-one, right? I have to also have my group mentorship where I'm gonna do live trade, not all 5 days. I trade 5 days a week, right? But it depends on the tire you're in. Some days are 2 days, some days are 5 days, some days are 3 days. All right, one moment. So I'm just gonna allow you guys to go ahead and subscribe. Hold on. And follow me on Instagram as. All right, so I want you guys to go to if you type for YouTube at Nasdaq Body, you're gonna see my trading channel come up. So if you watch my most recent videos, you're gonna understand the knowledge you're about to tap into if you're enrolled in this term of the Nasdaq Body University. So if you type in at Nasdaq Body, you could watch my last 5 live videos. I don't try to convince anyone. I don't have to beg anyone or run behind anyone, because I'm past that ring, baby. Even if you join or not, I'm still gonna be trading and making money regardless. Right? So there's a certain point in life where you just I'm willing to help the person who's really open to learning and desire to help and increase financially. If you're lazy and you want to stay broke, don't join, okay? Because this is not for you. I'm not gonna run behind you. I'm not gonna baby you. I'm gonna tell you that the hard truth. You're gonna have to practice. You're gonna have to learn. But the good thing is that you're gonna be able to make some profit while you're learning. And I didn't have that when I was learning. So the goal is to make your life much easier and to back test the things that I will be teaching you. I trade every pair, but I master the NASDAQ. The NASDAQ is very volatile. I don't need to stay in the market all day. You can literally make thousands of dollars from one candlestick. I'm not even gonna tell you you're gonna be a millionaire in 1 month and all that. Is it possible? It's possible if your mentor is calling the trade. It took me over a year in back testing, practicing the strategy and all of that. And that's why when you pay for mentorship, your life shouldn't be tedious or hard. Like just the volatility alone will scare you with the NASDAQ, okay? But that's it. That's all for today. I will see you guys in the next live tomorrow. And do have a lovely day. And follow me on Instagram too at Elohim Daughter One. I really need to be dropping these things. I'm gonna get my what you call it, my moderator to do these things for me, all right? Because I'm a very busy woman, but I'm not trying to be too busy. I'm busy in building as you should be doing. So get ready to invest in the stock market. All right. There's a way that you don't need $100,000 like people think you do. You don't. Okay. And that's why knowledge is key. So stay blessed, and I see you guys tomorrow. I see everyone tomorrow. Bye.